What is going on, guys? It is your boy Jimmy BF of Adamo Gaming here, and with the upcoming release of Far Cry 6 this October, I thought it was time to take a flight down memory lane to find out if Ubisoft's third installment of the franchise is still as good of a game as the gaming community remembers it to be, and if a first-person shooter that dates all the way back to 2012 is still worth playing in the year 2021. Let's go. After a teenage vacation to tropical Rook Island goes horribly wrong, our protagonist Jason Brody and his older brother are captured by a sociopathic pirate antagonist, Vaas, and his men. You probably know Vaas for his classic "Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity" quote, and rightfully so, since he is, in my opinion, one of the more likeable video game villains of all time. Notice, however, that I didn't call him the main villain, since Vaas is sadly killed off way before the storyline is actually concluded. Vaas's unhinged ramblings and unique ability to instill fear in the player simply isn't included enough throughout the campaign missions, with the latter stages involving killing off a score of forgettable extra baddies that was scarcely mentioned in the early stages of the game, making defeating them kinda cool, I guess. The final boss battle is portrayed as an emotional choice, but who really cares, honestly? It's all spoiled by a quick time event anyway. The underlying issue is that Far Cry's world is the main attraction here, and the campaign takes you away from that too confidently at times for an open world game. Most of the time, I just want to explore, kill, loot, not save Jason's stupid friends. And before you crucify me, why am I supposed to care about them? The game portrays the whole group as a bunch of young, preppy donuts, so why am I going through hell to save them? The only character worth saving was Jason's brother, and he's killed off almost immediately. What saves Far Cry from having a completely forgettable storyline is the game's sheer abrasiveness. Characters such as Dennis and Dr. Earnhardt are memorable because they are unapologetically over the top, and the occasional scenes of mass murder, torture, and nudity maintain this gritty feel throughout the campaign. Fighting in Far Cry 3 has two key rules. First, opt for stealth and remain undetected. If that fails, the more explosive, the better. The sound design of weaponry is exceptional, especially for specialist gadgets such as the iconic flamethrower or the recurve bow, complementing the powerful din of automatic weapon fire beautifully. Firefights feel impactful and dangerous, even if the AI is too dumb to actually pose a threat to you, unless they have an overwhelming numerical advantage. I don't want to be too harsh on a relatively old game on this point, but holy moly, there's some questionable bots in this game. Weapon attachments and camos are a nice touch, if not slightly underdeveloped. Nowadays, the gunplay is noticeably clunky, and the level of snap-on aim assist makes Battlefield 5's look lightweight in comparison. From fighting ancient demons on hallucinogenic psychedelic drugs to sneaking into an outpost undetected, the attacking approaches can definitely be varied, although they do require a bit of roleplay on the player's part. To put it simply, the more you kill, the better you get at killing, since the premise of the whole game is that Jason evolves into a killing machine whilst trying to save his friends, progressing from a squeamish teenager into a badass man who can do takedowns from a zipline. Gaining experience, unlocking skill branches, and learning special abilities makes you insanely OP early on, let alone during the late game, despite the fact that abilities can range from super game-changingly useful to purely a gimmick. Rook Island is pretty small compared to modern day maps, but it is crammed full of unique side quests and activities to keep you occupied. Assassination missions to take out a local military leader, collecting World War II era letters dating back to when the Japanese used to occupy the island, racing time trials on land, sand and sea, knife throwing party games, and even a cheeky game of poker in a dark and dingy seaside hut. However, in order to reach all these locations, you're going to need to find a way to travel. In all my years of gaming, I have never had more trouble controlling a vehicle than Far Cry's quad bike. The average lifespan of one of these bad boys is probably less than a Simpsons hit and run rocket car. Even the computer struggles to not plunge itself off a cliff. But the array of other modes of transport, ranging from jet skis to dune buggies to hang gliders, makes traversing the terrain feel fluid and, quite frankly, pretty badass. As is common in all games that include predatory wildlife, the animals on Rook Island are hilariously over-aggressive, not just towards the player but also towards enemy pirates and even other animal species. Uniquely, however, the game explains this away by inferring that Vaas's drug business somehow leaked into the ecosystem and sent the wildlife wild. As a competitive try-hard player, I always tried to abuse overpowered game mechanics, even in single-player games, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out that pretty much every combat method is highly effective when combined with smart use of syringes and a high-level crafting upgrades. Far Cry's tried and tested system is simple but rewarding. Hunt the animal, kill the animal, skin the animal, and craft something cool, effectively using hides to upgrade your equipment throughout the game. The main area in which the game shows its age is in its repetitive format. Restrictive and clunky animations have a constant presence, although the game is almost never glitchy, which is an accomplishment that even AAA games nowadays struggle with still. Climbing some dodgy tower can feel risky at first, but by the 15th time it turns into a bit of a drag. The whole reaching a high vantage point to reveal the map cliche isn't even avoidable unless you don't want to know where you're going the whole time. Same with the outposts. Liberating 34 lightly guarded settlements in a row doesn't feel like much of a victory when you can beam every guard from 100 meters away with a silent sniper rifle. I can already imagine someone in the comments saying,
"But Jimmy, there's also a 2-player co-op mode, online PvP multiplayer and even an online map editor for custom level design. Isn't that great?"
No, these are all completely pants. Just believe me on this one, they're not even worth discussing. In conclusion, Far Cry 3 remains a must-play classic open-world adventure game that visually holds up in 2021. Whilst the story could be argued as ultimately disappointing, Rook Island itself makes up for it big time through a range of side quests, explosive combat, and an addictive hunt, kill, and repeat gameplay loop. Old games which could be described as both funny and gritty are pretty hard to come by, balancing a cinematic narrative with the player's ability to do whatever the hell they want to do. World design, fleshing out characters, and even the music in the game is outstanding. If you haven't played it before, do it. If you've already played it, be prepared to take off those rose-tinted glasses a little, but enjoy the nostalgia and entertainment you'll ultimately enjoy. This has been Jimmy BF with Adamo Gaming. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. Sayonara.